Do you think overwhelmingly that this world has been just programmed to be a suffering world, and no matter, is that what you're coming to? Is nothing that we can do to change it?
And that is such, I've realized it's such a huge thing. I've watched now in the last week, interestingly, since we did our talk, a few people have passed on, friends of mine have passed, oh, well, you should listen to this person talk. You should listen to this woman. You should, oh, okay. I've clicked in. And always at the bottom of their philosophy, even if they're saying some pretty harsh things, the bottom of the philosophy is, but God created this place for a really good purpose, and you just have to give it time, or we just need to wait and find out God's plan, or, it's all going to get good in sometime in the future. It's like almost no one will just come out and say, you know what, I think the place is a crap fest right from day one. And if that's true, and we see that, then we can literally disengage most of our perception and most of our energy from this realm and place it to where we need to be, which is the totality of ourself, which is really interesting. I also read somewhere recently, a couple days ago, because I talk about I want to go home. I'm done with the realm. I want to go home. And it was a reminder, but actually you already are home, because the truth of you is actually, it's already outside the simulation. It's just like a piece, you might say, that's been tricked into the simulation. Not all of us. It's just a piece of us that's in here. So oddly, we're just reuniting the piece that's in the simulation, in the matrix, back with the rest of us, you might say, that's already there. So we don't even need to go home. And since we're home, it's just, we've got this one little tiny piece that's kind of broken off, and our whole job, you might say, is just getting the piece back to the whole. We're like one jigsaw puzzle piece away from being back home again. That's how close we are.
What do you mean by piece? Do you mean that only a fraction of our soul is here in this simulation?
Right. There's a couple of older myths that talk about that in these ones, this is around Lucifer as the creator of this realm, and that Lucifer was kicked out of heaven. That was the presentation. Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, and as he was falling, he broke off a piece of a star, and the piece of the star became the souls of humanity. That's what he used to make the souls, of the piece of this star. So it indicates it's not the whole star. He knocked off a piece of it. And this digs into a lot of the stories, because it's from the Holy Grail, this idea then that the piece of the star that fell is symbolically a stone, and this stone is the Philosopher's Stone. So if you go through and work with Grail teachings and Grail technology, you're finding this inner Philosopher's Stone within, which will reunite you back to the star that eventually broke off, long detailed, without going into all the detail. But it's also indicative that it's not like all of us are in, like everything that I would classify as me is here. It's just something that's me is here. And that's also, I think, very strengthening, because it's like, well, wait a minute. Most of 99% is not here. It's waiting for me. It's like, oh, so it's kind of gives you a bit of something, bit of drive to reunite.
But what is the spirit world, right? Because when we die here, consciousness continues on. We go into the spirit world. Is the spirit world another part of the hell simulation, or is it something different?
Yeah, that would be, it's all in the cave. It's all in the matrix. It's just different levels, different frequencies, different ways of thinking. Like a good example would be angels. Okay. Let's say I've got an angel that's a guardian angel that helped me out of this one situation. Yeah, that's probably true. But how about the situation the week before that where you got in a car accident and broke your leg? Why didn't the guardian angel save you then? And you can kind of look at this in a sense of, we look at this in a certain way, but if we're just cows on a farm and the farmer is the angel, so one animal will get, let's say, sick, and the farmer says, oh, I don't want to lose one of my good sheep, so I'm going to go get the vet out here and fix my sheep. And the vet comes and fixes the sheep. And of course, the sheep's going to think after that, this farmer really cares about me. I was so sick and the farmer came and got this help for me. This is great. Now to the farmer isn't necessarily thinking like an angel, like he's trying to, he's just, one of my sheep, this is like, this is like my livelihood, and I don't want the sheep to be ill and die, so I want to protect it. But in other cases, a sheep might get itself into trouble, and the farmer's just like, yeah, well, nothing. I could do this one, but I think this is going to be too costly, or the vet's a little busy today, so I'm sorry. This sheep's I'm just getting rid of this one. And if we maybe think of it in these terms, we maybe get a better sense of what's going on, that we're being protected, sort of, but we're being protected from the standpoint of whatever these beings want from us, they're making sure that we stay in the right energy structure, you might say, to be able to keep giving them what they want. And in order to do that, at times they will help us. So it goes back to when people pray, like something's going on, please get me out of this, and or help me with this. Sometimes we get help, and it does work, and sometimes we don't, and we're never told why it works one time and why it doesn't work another time. And this could make more sense if we see it that, because if there really was, first of all, there was really a truly loving God, if that's really what this was, that as soon as we started suffering, the loving God would step in and say, you're suffering. We need to stop this. And how did I even create a simulation where you could be in this much pain? I'm shutting this down and I'm fixing this. I'm fixing this. So the fact that it's not being fixed indicates that at least whatever's in charge of this thing likes it the way it is.
Well, Buddha said life is suffering. It's kind of true when I think about it, or when you said it just now. You'll pray. Sometimes your prayers are answered.
Yep.
Most often they're not. And I think people can justify maybe some good experiences in there. Well, they justify everything, right? Because if something good happened, then Jesus did it for them. If something bad happened, God wanted it to be that way. So no matter what it is, they have a rationale, which is usually religious, to justify it. And but what you're saying is there is no God that really cares about our prayers. It's just that if we get too pessimistic, we might see this whole reality for the soul trap it is. So sometimes it throws us a bone once in a while. Here's another possibility of how this could work. Let's say the being that's going to be that we're connected, because we don't know what we're connecting to or what we pray to. I say, I'm praying to this spirit or whatever. Okay, we don't know what that is. But okay, let's say that we are connecting to a spirit, because they do exist. But the spirit's thinking like this, this person needs this right now. And so I'm going to make a deal on the subconscious level. The deal's going to be, I'll make that happen for you, but you're going to store a whole lot of energy for me. And then when you die, I'll eat that energy. So we don't even know if there's some underlying weird agreements and contracts that are going on every time we make a prayer and ask for something from an outside source. We really don't know. I've just read some things like that have indicated the possibility that after you die, there could be certain entities that are eating certain types of energy that you've stored on contracts that they believe you've made with them. So I mean, once you start putting into these possibilities, and again, I'm not saying I got answered. I'm just saying this is showing how little we know of where we are and how much we've lived most of our life in ignorance of just believing a few people, believing a few organizations who have told us this is the way things are, and don't question it, don't think about it, just do it. And once we start to think about it, we start to see, well, we don't know what's going on here. And that's where it starts to get difficult, because then I'm answering your questions and sort of throwing out some ideas based on what I've seen and what research is. But I don't know, but it just indicates, we don't know. And all it seems like the answers we've got since we were little kids doesn't stand up to true creative questioning and thinking.